Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a front bumper build on this newer body style Silverado. It's a pretty clean truck, does have Dirt King front end on it. So it's got fiberglass and bed sides. We are going to be doing the bed cage on it here in a month or two. But as for now, we're going to be putting the factory bumper back on, giving it a haircut on the bottom, and then we're going to be building a nice tube bar around the front with a triangle skid plate. We're going to do kind of a wide triangle skid plate, so it's going to be a pretty clean but flush but low profile bumper. So I'm going to give you guys a quick look here at this truck. So let's go ahead and let's get it pulled in. Let's get started on it. Alright, so here we go. We have the factory bumper here. I'm going to put it back on and basically just hack these lower little wings out. So that way it's a nice flush straight cut bumper. So here we are. See the bed sides there. It's a pretty cool truck. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna zip these little toe points off. I'm gonna take these side bumper brackets off, and then I'm gonna bolt that bumper back on, and then I'm gonna start cutting, and then we're gonna start laying some new tube. Alright, so what I did here is I went ahead and I cut off the factory assembly line brackets. They usually are hanging down right here and here. You kind of see it on the time lapse. Then I went ahead and I just kind of cleaned up the frame, shot it with some clean gloss black. There's a lot of this thick, oily kind of coating on it. I went ahead and just cleaned it up. So just a lot less stuff hanging down. So I'm gonna give that a couple minutes to dry. We're gonna bolt the bumper back on, and then we're gonna start our tubing work. Alright, so here's where we are at. The bumper is fully bolted on. Everything with the factory bumper is done, complete. Here's where we are at right now. I went ahead and I cut a piece of 2-inch flat strap. It's a pretty thick gauge. There's a couple holes here in the frame I'm gonna use. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna bolt that in there. I'm gonna tighten these down. And then what I'm gonna do for my triangle skid plate, I'm gonna land my tubes off of this that are gonna V up wider. And I have some clamps that I made here that are basically gonna bolt on, and I'm gonna reuse the tow hook bolts that came out of those holes. I'm gonna basically clamp those on there, and then I'll be able to run just a short little piece of tube to be able to land our main bar off of that. So here is my brackets for the top. I have my holes marked out. I'm gonna go ahead and drill them, but these are basically gonna slide onto the frame, and then a piece of tubing will come off of here. It's only gonna be probably 3 inches long or so with the cope, just enough to hold that bar. But this is gonna be able to bolt in, the bottom piece is gonna bolt in, and then all the tubing is gonna tie it all together. So it's gonna be pretty sturdy. So let's go ahead and let's get these drilled, let's get these bolted in place, then we can start laying our tubing. Okay, so I have my little brackets drilled, bolted in place, there and there. Basically, it's just like a C or a U. Just something to clamp on, give me some surface area here to put some tubing on. And then I have a flat strap there on the back, bolted up to the holes there. The bottom of it should run flush, so everything's gonna flow nice and smooth. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna start working on the main bar all the way across the front. I'm gonna put a bend there, and then I don't know if I need to do 2 small bends on each end. We'll see. We're gonna start in the middle. We're gonna do either 1 on each end, or we're gonna do 2 little ones on each end. We're gonna just try to make it follow the body line as good as we can. So let's go ahead and let's get some tubing. Okay, so what I did here is I wrapped a tape measure around the truck. I went from far end to far end, which is past where I'm gonna cut it. So I added an extra, I'd say probably 3 or so inches on each side. So that's like an extra 6 inches. So it came out to 78 inches. I didn't put my center mark on here. I always put like a C or whatever through there. And then what I do, since I want my bend to be basically point dead center, I moved up my bend mark over 2 inches, which is where I'm gonna put the beginning of my die. So when it starts to roll, it should be right around my center mark here. Hopefully as close as possible on my center mark. The more degrees you go, the more it rolls your bend. So I don't know the exact science behind it. I know they have charts and this and that, but every bender is obviously different. I have worked with a lot of benders over the years, and it's usually within 2 to 3 inches. Again, the tighter your bend is, the more that's going to roll over, because your die is going to start here and it's going to start to roll. So we are only going to be doing like a 10 or 15 degree little kink in the middle. So I just want to give it room for that die, just enough to just push. So I'm going to put it in, I'm laying my die up here, and then we're gonna see where our center kink lines up, and then I'm gonna put a new line on that if it's like, if it happens to be like 1/4 inch or half an inch off to the side. I'll put a new center mark, and then I'll duplicate all my other bends from that center mark. So this just gives me an idea. That's why I always add a little bit of extra material to each end, so by the time it's done, I get to that body line where I want to hack it, and then I can take off, you know, just throwing a number out there from center mark, you know, 32 inches over end the bumper, center mark 32 inches over end the bumper. Then you can hack it, and then everything ends up working out nice and centered. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna put my degree finder on the front bumper, see what angle, little kink we need to do. I'm gonna load this in the bender over there, and then we're gonna do our little bend. Okay, so I have the first bend done. See, show you here how it follows the body lines. Little kink in the middle. So you can notice here, it starts to get another bend. It starts to come off a little bit right there. So we are going to put a bend right here, right where this other body seam is. It will poke out just a little bit here, but then it's gonna have a nice bend. It'll start to suck in right when that sucks in. So I moved it 2 inches over again. I did it on both sides. I also marked which side the tubing needs to be going up. I put a D for the die for that side. And then this side, I did everything on the bottom. I don't know how well you can see that, but that way when I put it in the bender, I can rotate it and make sure that the bends and everything are gonna go in the proper direction. So let's go ahead and get this one bent. Alright, so check it out. I'm trying to get you kind of a sky view here so you can see how it follows the body lines, the outside edges. So here's my center mark. You can see my original center mark was that far off, like literally probably 1/8 of an inch, even less than that. So I did mark out my center mark. I originally did these bends on the outside here, and then I added another 10-degree bend right there just to kind of help follow the body lines. And then on the outside here, since this is where I'm gonna finish it, I did tuck it in. It still pokes out a little bit. I just thought it looked a little bit cleaner if it tucked in, kind of went with the body lines. And then I'm gonna cut it basically right here with this body line. So everything right there is just gonna hack off. I'm gonna cap it. So I think it's just a nice clean way to end it. I went ahead and matched that up on both sides. So like I said, I did leave just that little bit of extra, but that's where we're gonna cut it and we're gonna cap it, and it's just gonna be a nice clean finish. So here's the front of it. So everything is nice and flush and nice and clean. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm going to go ahead, I'm gonna make my marks, I'm gonna cut the ends. I might as well cap them and everything. Might as well cap them and everything while I can do it over here on the bench. Make it nice and easy, and then I can roll the tube and everything. And then after that, I'm gonna do my little out bars, which are gonna go onto those plates that I did, and they're gonna cope to the back of this bar here. So I'm gonna do those, and then I'm gonna start doing the skid plate frame down to the frame there. So let's go ahead and let's get these labeled and get them cut and capped. Alright, so now the bumper is capped, and then I did go ahead and I trimmed the side plastic caps. Go ahead and got them lined up perfectly. Show you here on this side real quick. That one's in, cap is on. Alright, so now I'm going to do the pieces that go from the frame up to the bar. So for pieces that are typically that short, I like to kind of do this because most everything you build, you have to do both sides. So this is 3.5 inches where I marked it. So this is the frame plate going to be here, and then where the coat for the bumper tube is going to be right here. So what I like to do is I like to start my coat where the bottom of the bumper tube is going to be right there. I'm going to fully send it through, and it's going to coat my second piece, and then I can just put that same 3.5 inch measurement on this side. I can hack it off, and then I have 2 pieces coped in the matter of literally doing one hole saw and then one cut off wheel there. We are back at it here, day 2. I'm going to start with the little frame horns, and then I'm going to start doing the triangle framing for the skid plate. So I'm going to try to get all this done today. Truck needs to go home either tonight or tomorrow, so I'm going to try to get it all done today so I can get back on the rail that we're doing here. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to jump on those little pieces there. Okay, so I did this off camera. I did some little notches there because I do have this tucked all the way up flush. I just want to make sure that I can get all the way to the tube, everything. So here I did it on both sides. So, and then I have these, which are coped. It's a little bit lower on the outside there because it is wrapping towards the tire there. So tuck this up inside that little space there, and then that's gonna be our little bar there. So those are gonna weld on there, and then we're gonna do another bar from here down to there on both sides. So I did make both of these. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get these tacked in place. Alright, so here we are. I have the skid plate bars done. I have the ends here coped. This is the inside, so it's coped a little bit deeper. Let's see if I get the right angle. So there you go. And then this is tapered for the bottom of the truck frame, because these sit at an angle like this. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna throw them up underneath there. I'm gonna tack them in place. was a quick little time lapse on how I get my templates for my skid plates. Here is the fitment. Everything is half down the tubes. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna take that paper off, put it on the aluminum, and then we're gonna go ahead and cut it out, and we're gonna get this bumper, we're gonna get a badge on it, and then we're gonna get it painted and bolted back up. Ready for paint. I have the skid plate template done, so I can cut that, but I wanted to get this. It is nighttime, end of day 2. So everything welding wise and steel wise is done. So I got a clean rag here. I have some rubbing alcohol. I'm gonna wipe the whole thing down, flip it over, wipe the whole thing down again, let it dry for like 10 minutes or so, make sure it's fully evaporated, which is more than enough time. And then I'm going to spray the backside first, let it dry, and then I'm gonna flip it, and then I'm gonna spray the front side, which I do that side last because I don't want any runs or anything from the back bleeding into the front. If I do happen to get a run, like in these little edges where I kind of overlap in a couple different directions, worst case, it's gonna run to the back, and it's really not gonna matter because all that's gonna be tucked behind a bumper and skid plate and everything. It's just the way that I like to do it. I like to make sure the front, the part that you're gonna see, is just as smooth and clean and glossy, as good as it's gonna be. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna wipe it down with some rubbing alcohol. We're gonna get some paint on it. All right, everybody, so that's gonna be a wrap on this bumper. Got it all done, got it all painted, got it bolted up. I'm gonna give you a quick little walk around here. He is on his way to pick it up. Sorry, it's all black, so it's really hard to see. I try to pull it out here in the light, but we're just all shadows right now this time of day. But there's the skid plate. You see over here, got the badge. You can kind of see it a little bit better. There you are. Got my little shop light, but it's not really helping much. So that is going to be a wrap for this video. The truck is done. He just picked it up. He was very happy. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll keep going on the next one. Peace out.